learn from Elvira. I think we have chosen last time the most radical form of museum concept because we had a longing for learning these radical forms, but because she said that she wants to keep these handicraft traditions vivid, and how can the museum have a new definition?
We are still on a small island in Germany of happiness, but it starts to break off in different parts. And we saw that 25% they have in Sachsen-Anhalt, this right-wing party, Front National in France. It's not only Eastern Europe. In Eastern Europe it's stronger, but it moves all over.
I think what we didn't say about these changes that are happening is how the global companies are now governing the world in a way which is not so different in Greece and here.
Soy un pintor y muralista boliviano. He vivido al lado de los indígenas desde mi niñez y toda la vida me ha influido la moral indígena, la sensibilidad de los indígenas, tanto de los nativos del oriente boliviano como de los nativos del altiplano y los valles. ¿Cómo vamos a hacer? ¿Vamos a llevar la modernidad por sacarlos de la miseria porque viven muy pobremente? ¿O, como ellos dicen, vamos a permitir que crezcan, que se desarrollen según sus propias costumbres?
The museums can work or can collect the know-how of the object, how to create the making of the object itself. So this could be quite interesting to think, how can we conserve this know-how in the museum? This could be a way of working with collection.
Museums, libraries, hospitals, prisons, a little bit like Foucault, are the spaces where something that is utopistic already exists. It's actually about potentiality. It's not about the dreaming, beautiful future.
What can the museum learn from a specific display of exhibition with a collection, or what does remain after an experience with a collection?
What you call archaeology, ethnography, and the contemporary is connected with a clear tradition. Because your archaeology is 14th, 15th century, most of it, best pieces of that. Even the traditions start in the intermediate period, but it's very late. So it's immediately before the colonial period.
What Elvira wants to say is that what she's doing here, from going from the archaeological to the ethnological, which is the contemporary production, these kind of two steps, in the way she does it with the whole chain of production, this does not happen in the discussion of contemporary or modern art.
Archaeology can only work from what the object says. And what she's saying is she's not letting the object say symbolically, but say materially.
act, think locally,
act globally.
Refugees have been in the country, in Germany, for many decades, and most of the art institutions were not working with the refugees. They start working with the refugees once they were in the media. As a big problem.
Occupying the streets, the same.
Okay, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. No, let me finish. I need to finish my point.
Why the decisions about museums should be made by people who are named to be directors of museums? How democratic is that?
If we understood this museum as a school or in its educational goal, how we can, and if the schools are rethinking themselves, so how can the museum rethink itself?
If you think of Picasso, if you think of Rauschenberg or whatever, like we have really the most incredible works by them. And we show them, and we try, okay, we have like this text on the wall, we have audio guides or whatsoever, but I still don't feel satisfied, like really with contextualizing. The majority of countries in Africa, you cannot find a museum of modern art with a museum of contemporary art. But you still have a museum there.
But we cannot somehow put the way back, history back. I mean, history happened as it happened. But I feel it gives us an obligation to find ways somehow to deal with these injustices which happened. And one example can really be to make exhibitions travel, make exhibitions go around.
If you count the money that goes to build the museums, the ruins would be preserved where they were.
From the left, from the Bolivian left, and we came also from the last resistance against dictatorship. And we were very aware that there was no voice for women in the Bolivian politics.
Estuvimos en la Bienal de Arte de Sao Paulo, pero fuimos utilizando la plataforma de la Bienal de Arte de Sao Paulo para hacer una denuncia que nosotras la creemos políticamente, que es una de las luchas más grandes, más duras para las mujeres bolivianas, latinoamericanas y a nivel mundial.
We don't go anywhere, you know, like the girls of Bolivia, exotic pieces. No, we don't take that joke.
The most important question that stay is how to decolonize ourselves.
We must be, able to find ways, because you don't have an ideal institution where everything allows you to think the way you think. You try to, you show who you are, and if they say no, sometimes then you back up a little, and then you think if you can go on, or if you retire, or whatever. But that's the way it goes.
I work for a very, very small museum, but it's extremely powerful. It's a very powerful museum. And I took the job as the only decision was like, I don't want anybody else doing that. I mean, that's...
I think that we have to recognize the ability of individuals to make a difference everywhere, you know, in institutions which are progressive or not progressive.
Platforms like this plant seeds, and I think those seeds have been planted.
What really struck me in Elvira's work that she's doing in the museum is that whatever the institutional structure that you have, you can really show your love for your subject, for your topic, and that is actually the most essential thing.
We want to change the museums, we want to change the role of cultural institutions, we want more decolonization, more openness, more oriented towards audience, countries of origin, if you're dealing with collections from all over the world, how corporations can work.
You always think, are we doing the right thing? And then you meet people who tell you you're not doing the right thing. You have to rethink this and this and this. And this is important because the critical impact, it doesn't really derive from your own team.
Siento que en los otros museos no están tan avanzados, ¿no? Se ve que todavía hay ese formalismo de la organización como en el pasado. Y en mi caso está yendo un poco más adelante, me parece, y estamos trabajando muy enfocada, digamos, de alguna manera desde el sur para el frente, digamos, de los otros lados.
One of the things I will take away with me from this encounter and this dialogue with colleagues is precisely the issue of how to establish relations with communities that can be more democratic and which can be more inclusive and find ways of articulating.
We had the question how to decolonize or democratize the collection, but we ended with the question how to decolonize ourselves. And I think that was the most important question of the whole week we spent together.
I think for me this goes together very much with the issue of democratization of institutions. It's again the same question: who is the one in charge saying what democratization is?
I do not have the answers. I think for me this platform has really enriched the kinds of questions one can ask towards these processes of democratization and decolonization.
Yo creo que esta segunda experiencia para mí ha sido más interesante y más intenso porque son preguntas ya más así, yo diría directas, ¿no?
Because of our upcoming project, Global Museum, and we have a lot of discussions about that. So it's really very much fostering our debate, everything that I will bring from here.
All around the world right now in this crisis of language that we are going through, we really need to claim our spaces as subjects. And I hope like the kind of thinking work that we're doing would enable those spaces in the institutions, because it is one of the few remaining areas where we can really claim and open that up. And, yeah.